Good evening, and welcome to Aggie News and Views. I'm Spencer Heath.
And I'm Diamond Hubbard. The new Student Center has finally made its opening debut. Gabrielle Cook and Alonzo Clark were there. Give us the story, guys.
Since 1967, the Memorial Student Union was known as the living room of the university, but that area will turn into dirt and rubble.
Now, after 3.5 years and over $90 million, the new Student Center is open and ready for business.
The most anticipated event for all Aggies has finally arrived.
The 150,000 square foot building holds meeting rooms, game rooms, student lounges, study spaces, and offices for various student orders.
I envision way more collaboration coming from all of the executive student leadership. So I'm really excited about that.
This year we really wanted to focus on making sure that the different ESL groups are really cohesive and work together. And the space that we have upstairs is going to allow us to do just that.
The new Student Center will have the same food options as the Aggie Dome with the addition of Einstein Brothers Bagels, 1891 Bistro, and Marketplace Dining.
Making a big move from Brown Hall, the new Barnes & Noble's bookstore will be a center attraction to all Aggies.
As Aggies welcome this grand addition to A&T's campus, they will soon be saying goodbye to the Aggie Dome.
We will remove the Aggie Dome, return all of that space to parking, and as that space begins to fill up and space utilization occurs, it will probably drive us to have to build another parking deck.
The ribbon has been cut, the doors are open, and students are rolling in.
It's been a long time coming, so Aggies, enjoy your new Student Center. I'm Alonzo Clark.
I'm Gabrielle Cook.
And this is Aggie News and Views.
Now, according to building management, food services of the new Student Center will not be open until well after fall break. Until then, the Dome will remain open as a food option for the campus.
Aggie Men, a male empowerment conference, came to campus last weekend. Ayanna Miller was there to fill us in on the details.
Learn to see yourself bigger than what people see you. The stronger your vision, the better you can navigate into.
The inaugural Aggie Men Male Empowerment Conference took place in Harrison Auditorium on September 21st and 22nd. Celebrities such as A&T's own Terrence J, TV talk show host Jeff Johnson, and Grammy award-winning rapper David Banner were in attendance to help Aggie men develop skills to be successful in and out of the classroom. To kick off the summit on Friday, motivational speaker and author Brian Heat spoke to the men in attendance about becoming self-starters and knowing their self-worth.
The biggest thing that I want them to walk away with today is I want them to realize how valuable they are. So often in this country, we're just not taught our value.
Mr. Heat resonated with many in attendance, including this Aggie student.
For myself, just igniting yourself, finding your passion, finding your purpose. Finding your purpose allows you to engage yourself in a way in which you can create change in your world and in others' world.
And when you feel like you're not worth, you don't go chase dreams. You can only chase what you believe you're worthy of. So I wanted the guys to realize, even in my new book, Get Ignited, I'm igniting them to realize their self-worth, igniting them to realize their self-value and their purpose. So if they walk out today feeling valuable and worthy, I did my job. My name is Brian Heat. We just got ignited. Pump it up yourselves, guys.
For Aggie News and Views, I'm Ayanna Miller.
Local elections are right around the corner as students on campus are registering to vote and preparing to march to the polls. Gerrymandering is still dividing the A&T campus into two districts, and reporter Taylor Jackson was able to capture the students' thoughts on this matter.
Voting day here in Greensboro is November 6, 2018. Many students here on North Carolina A&T campus are prepared to go out and vote at the polls, but others aren't aware of the invisible line on campus which divides campus into two voting districts. This gerrymandering leaves a lot of students on campus confused.
I'm registered to vote.
I'm registered to vote.
I don't know what district I'm voting in.
I do not know about gerrymandering.
Gerrymandering is a practice intended to establish a political advantage for a particular party by manipulating district boundaries. North Carolina A&T is divided by Laurel Street into District 6 and District 13. These maps were drawn by the Republican-led North Carolina General Assembly.
I've heard opinions about it, and to be honest, personally, I'm against it because I'm against, me and my peers being sort of like separated and being unable to vote jointly.
I feel like they should tell us where we are so we know where to vote at.
Gerrymandering on a college campus isn't really necessary due to the fact that we're all here, we're all living here, so we should all be guided towards one spot. And especially, like, I know a lot of people like to do group voting, so it will make it easier for a lot of us to just, get together, take maybe a big bus or take like the Aggie shuttle and just like go to the same site. But being that they have lines on the campus dividing us up and one of us has to go that way and the rest of us has to go that way, that's just too confusing. So it's like, why not just have a centralized place on campus where we could vote here and not have to go anywhere?
It's sort of like they're blocking us from being heard.
Although gerrymandering might discourage others, A&T students are still prevailing to line up at the polls. So let your voice be heard.
I'm glad to know students aren't letting gerrymandering stop them from letting their voices be heard. If you have not registered to vote by Friday, October 12th, you cannot vote on Election Day, November 6th. On September 18th, the university welcomed former ESPN anchor Jamil Hill as a guest for the first Chancellor Speaker Series of the academic year. After being introduced by Chancellor Martin, Ms. Hill spoke about her upbringing and early years as a journalist. She later delved into hot topics such as Colin Kaepernick, Nike, and how roles of professional athletes are becoming more political. She also discussed her departure from ESPN and her tweets regarding President Trump.
Speaking of sports and changes, the student sitting at home football games has a new name. In order to promote unity and enthusiasm, SGA is encouraging students to sit in a designated section called the trenches. Michael Boyd has more on the story.
North Carolina A&T are making big changes within their stadium. Recently, they just changed the name from Aggie Stadium to the BB&T Stadium. Alongside the name change, they are making changes right here inside of the stadium. Where I am standing today, this is the new student section called the Trenches. North Carolina A&T student section has now been named the Trenches. This is the first time in A&T history where a name has been given to the student section. SGA has now decided to sit in this section also with the students to bridge the gap between the administration and the student body. A letter was sent out to the student body explaining the changes that was being made for the 2018 football season. The letter stated that the Vandegrift administration will be sitting in the newly created student section of the stadium throughout this football season. With the help of the executive student leaders, the Student Government Association has named the student section the Trenches. Questions was asked to fellow Aggie students to give their opinion about the new student section name and how it would benefit our student body.
The student section at the stadium, it's lit. In 2015, my freshman year, we ain't had that. Everybody was just everywhere. So I feel like all the students being in one spot kind of brings a different burst of energy. Everybody just be on one accord, saying all the same chats. It's just lit.
So I think it's a cool idea for A&T to name the student section the Trenches, just because it gives us a community feel. Only students can go there and be a part of that community, so I'm happy that that's something new brought to our school and our games.
The new student section, the Trenches, is first come to all A&T students. You can now go online and reserve your free tickets for each home game early. For Aggie News and Views, I am Michael Boyd.
We'll be back with more Aggie News and Views right after this.
Have you ever tasted passion? Poured out your soul, presented your rawness to the audience that's set before you as you learn to love the parts of you that none of them would clap for. Privy to the internal graffiti written in the hearts of all of them, your art used to decorate the silence. The stage, your canvas. Each word a stroke of your brush used to embellish the space, the emotions that lay before you and them. Have you ever seen a true class act? A star in the making, turning their nerves into a masterpiece, late night sessions into an array of colors, lights, camera, action. Mic check 1 2 1 2, bringing you their pure imagination. Welcome to their factory, where I hope you have your golden ticket to witness their bodies be the instruments. voices, the tempo, to produce what we know to be renowned individuals in their truest form. Have you ever gazed upon what dedication looks like? No? Well, sit back, relax, and take a glimpse into their world, because at night, these Aggies, they go live.
Here at A&T, we have many organizations. You may know them and you may not. One of those organizations is YBLA, the Young Black Leadership Alliance. East Dockery has more on what some Aggies have been up to since school started.
Today, we will be covering Aggies excelling outside the classroom. We will be interviewing members of a young black male and woman empowerment group called YBLA, Young Black Leadership Alliance. I caught up with Mike Sasser, who is an elder who is heavily involved in the urban ministry at Guilford Park Presbyterian Church. We believe in strengthening the body of Christ by embracing diversity and working for justice for all.
I retired back in June of 2012, and during that time, we started a program for the teenage boys that lived at Partnership Village to come to Guilford Park Church and play some basketball, get to know each other, and just have a good time. So I made contact with Roderick Carter back last winter and asked him to consider bringing these young men to Guilford Park Presbyterian Church to mentor, to be good role models, to talk about things that's going on in these young teenage boys' lives, and it's been a blessing.
I knew that I had a group of friends, and me and Harold could get it together to where we could come here and start playing basketball and kind of mentoring the guys here at the church. So that's kind of how we got here, and that started last year.
Tony Jackson, who is a personal trainer and renowned speaker, finds time every Thursday night to speak to the kids at Fellowship and Hoops and instill valuable life lessons within them.
The main values that I try to instill in these kids is really perseverance. Life hits you from every different angle, and you're constantly faced with adversity. And so really what I really want these kids to get is you have to persevere. You have to keep going. You can't stop. Don't let adversity stop you. That's the number one thing that I want them to take away every time that I come is persevere and don't stop.
Aside from mentoring, Adrian Harrison, who is a YBLA mentor and head of community relations, talks about other activities that they do with the kids.
Study hall, swimming, we have basketball. That's what we focus on, things that they like, things that they enjoy, and if they're enjoying it, then we're enjoying it.
In the essence of Adrian and the rest of YBLA partaking in a multitude of activities with the guys that look to not only groom these young men, but to raise them to be future and effective leaders within our society.
We pride ourselves on being more than basketball, because it's not just basketball. We're raising a future generation of men that's going to go out there and change the world.
For now, this is East Dockery with Aggie News and Views.
Fellowship and Hoops takes place every Thursday at 6 p.m. at Guilford Park Presbyterian Church. And now we'd like to turn it over to Kelsey Gray, our entertainment anchor, who will tell us about who's coming to town for GHO. Kelsey?
Big names, big excitement. That's what's in store for GHO 2018. The Student Activity Board and SGA announced last week that Cardi B and 2 Chainz will be headlining the official Aggie Homecoming concert Saturday, November 3rd at the Greensboro Coliseum. Cardi B burst onto the scene in 2015 after being a regular on Love and Hip Hop New York. She gained further internet fame before releasing her first rap album, Invasion of Privacy. That album debuted at #1 on the Billboard charts, making Cardi B the first female rapper to have multiple #1 hits, as both Bodak Yellow and I Like It topped the charts in 2017. 2 Chainz is an established rapper from College Park, Georgia, that is known for his Southern rap. The Atlanta-based rapper has released 4 albums, all placing in the top 5 on the Billboard charts. The Aggie Homecoming concert will also feature performances from rising stars Ella Mai and Lil Baby. But this is not the only big-time entertainment for this year's edition of GHO. After trick-or-treating on October 31st, Aggies can head over to the Corbett Sports Center for a stand-up comedy show. Dion Cole from the ABC hit show Blackish will be the headliner, with additional stand-up routines from Jess Hilarious and Donovan Jordan. There will also be an added twist to this year's step show on Friday night, as there will be a showcase featuring 2 of the best marching bands in the world, A&T's very own Blue and Gold Marching Machine and Norfolk Stakes Spartan Legion. Alumni should not worry because on November 2nd, Kenny Babyface Edmonds will be at the Greensboro Coliseum to perform a special concert that will be sure to have whip appeal. Finally, it will also be a homecoming of sorts for the king of urban gospel, Kirk Franklin. Kirk Franklin first came back to A&T in 1993 as a 23-year-old soulful gospel singer. Now, 25 years later, the 12-time Grammy winner will be back in Greensboro with his new show that infuses contemporary gospel with a twist of hip-hop. Franklin's performance with the A&T Gospel Choir will close out the homecoming festivities on Sunday, November 4th. For Aggie News and Views, I'm Kelsey Gray.
Thanks, Kelsey. Up next, Bradford Books with sports.
Thanks, Spencer, and welcome to ANV Sports. Well, it had to happen sometime, but it was fun while it lasted. The A&T football team hadn't lost a game since 2016, but that all changed Saturday at the newly renamed BB&T Stadium. The Aggies' 15-game winning streak and the quest for another undefeated season were snapped at the hands of Morgan State.
It was a beautiful sunny afternoon, and the fourth-ranked Aggies were red hot as Morgan State came to town looking to cool them off. The defense got going early as Bam Bam Durrell Johnson lays out Bears QB DeAndre Harris. Special teams got in it too as Artavius Richardson chased down the muff punt to put the Aggie offense in business. But it was short-lived, however. The very next play, Dante Small picks off Lamar Rayner at the 2-yard line. Julian McKnight and Justin Capes bobble up Bears running back Jordan Riggins to close out a scoreless first quarter. Mac McCain picks off Harris to set up this 23-yard strike from Raynard to tight end Leroy Hill, giving A&T a 6-0 lead and the early momentum going into halftime.
Number 87, Leroy Hill on the reception. Nobody does it better than the Aggies.
Alex Ray nails his 40-yard field goal to give the Bears a 10-6 lead midway through the third. A&T looking to battle back, but Raynard's pass is intercepted by Marquise Storms at the 35. Next series for the offense, Markel Cartwright explodes up the middle for a touchdown to go back on top 13-10. Julian McKnight feeling it, drops Jordan Riggins for no gain yet again. The Bears were going nowhere, however, as Alex Ray hits his 51-yarder, and we are all tied up. The Aggies will look to break the tie, but Elijah Bell can't hang on in the end zone. That would set up this 43-yard attempt by Noel Roaz, but it sailed wide right. The Bears would take over with 2 ticks left as Alex Ray drills it from 36 to give MSU the win 16-13. Head coach Sam Washington was disappointed in his team's performance.
So we did a lot of things that wasn't conducive to being successful, and we'll get that fixed. If you'd told me an hour ago they'd hold us to 13 points, I would have thought you were crazy. I would have thought that was just absolutely nuts. And to be held to 13 points is not acceptable.
Despite the loss, there is a bit of good news because Hampton University has left the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. All MEAC teams will play 1 fewer conference game this season, and even though Morgan State and A&T are both MEAC members, this game did not count in the conference standings. So A&T's quest to return to the Celebration Bowl rolls on. Before the loss, I caught up with the seniors Malik Wilson and Jamal Darden to see what this winning streak meant to the program.
This year, we started off strong, 3-0. I believe that we can continue to do great things around this campus and inspire others.
A lot of guys want to play with us now as far as big recruits. Big recruits is overlooking other schools and coming to us. It's just a blessing.
No other school in the country Power 5, FCS, smaller FBS schools has ever went undefeated 2 years in a row. So we're just trying to, chase greatness.
Jason McMasters will now take us through highlights of the first 3 A&T games, including upset wins over East Carolina and Jacksonville State.
Home sweet home it was for the #1 team in black college football as they played host to in-state foe Gardner-Webb and were looking for more of the same this year. The Aggies wasted no time at all getting on the board as Jermaine Martin houses it from 28 yards out to get the crowd going early. And after the offense stalled a little, redshirt sophomore Kashawn Baker fields a bulldog punt, hits the seam, and it was see you later, giving A&T a 14-3 cushion shortly before halftime. Will Ruiz tacks on this 43-yard field goal to give the Aggies a 14-point advantage at the break. Lamar Raynard in the game kept their foot on the gas in the third quarter as he finds fullback William Hollingsworth in the back of the end zone for a 5-yard strike as Coach Washington looks on. Kashawn Baker would put the icing on the cake with this short carry as the Aggies rolled big, 45-6. After a lightning and monsoon-like rain moved kickoff back a day, A&T faced its toughest test of the year at FBS East Carolina. After an early Pirate field goal, Mac McCain bakes Reed Herring into throwing a soft pass. 109 yards later, the Aggies had the lead and the momentum. A&T responded to back-to-back touchdowns with this 12-yard strike from Lamar Raynard to Zach Leslie. Zach Leslie makes a spectacular catch in the back of the end zone to give the Aggies a 21-20 lead early in the fourth quarter. After an ECU field goal, backup QB Khalil Carter found his main man Elijah Bell in the flats for the go-ahead score. Jamal Darton picked off a last-second Pirate heave to give the Aggies its third FBS win in 3 years. The Aggies opened the 2018 campaign with a top 20 showdown against Jacksonville State in the Guardian FCS Kickoff Classic. Lamar Raynard hit Zach Leslie from 25 yards out to take the early lead. And after 10 unanswered from the Gamecocks, Malik Wilson takes the ensuing kickoff almost back to Greensboro, 97 yards to the house to snatch back the momentum midway through the third quarter.
Malik Wilson, 98 yards.
Raynard will hook up with his partner in crime, Elijah Bell, for what would be the game-winning score in a 20-17 hard-fought battle. For now, Jason McMasters, Aggie News and Views.
Thanks, Jason. A&T returns to action Thursday night at home against South Carolina State on ESPNU. Hurricane Florence postponed the cross-country team's second meet, but I've got the details for their first race at the Elon Invitational.
Both A&T cross-country teams began the start to their year at the Elon Invitational on August 29th. While the program hasn't captured a MEAC title in 6 seasons, optimism is high for 2018. Hakeem Mustafa and Marquise McGee are set to lead the men's team, while Camille Martin and Christoni Barnes lead the pack for the women. The men's 6K got the evening started, followed by the women's 4K. There were 7 teams participating and 73 total runners. Freshman Reagan Kimtai had an excellent run in his Aggie debut, finishing 3rd overall. Morris Kimball, Marquise McGee, and Daquan Maddox all finished in the top 50. The women finished today with a 4K just before sunset. The Aggies finished 6 out of 8 teams with a total of 67 runners. Jasmine Butler, Christoni Barnes, Camille Martin, and Monserrat Creary all finished in the top 50.
Cross country will next race Saturday morning at Hagingstone Park, right here in Greensboro. And before we go, I'd like to give a shout out to A&T golfer Erica Jackson. Erica just won her first collegiate tournament at the Delaware Invitational last weekend with a 3-over par score of 147. We'll have some women golf highlights next week from the Star Mount Invitational. For Aggie News and Views, I'm Bradford Brooks, clocking out.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'm Spencer Heath.
And I'm Diamond Hubbard. And remember to follow us on social media.